And when he sets his chin on it, it leaves a deposit of a slobber ball with hair. So I frequently have to clean that area almost more than the other areas, because he does that more often than I cook, basically. So yeah, the joys of living with a St. Bernard. Good enough. Okay. So the one I dropped, I'm just gonna inspect and see if it needs any rinsing from hitting the floor. Just gonna rinse it just for the sake of it. Bum, 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 bum. Oh. And then these go right back on. They also need to be deep cleaned, but that's for a different day. They do get dirty over time. I'd say I have to clean these knobs and these covers 2 or 3 times a year probably. And that, it's not actually often I get dog slobber on these. This is just usually food. Alright, so now that that's wiped off and dried off, we're going to put the pans back. And, we got this corner cupboard over here that still needs to be finished. So, this back edge right here was like really dusty. Alright, now that my paper towel is really, really dirty but wet, I'm going to turn it to a cleaner side because I see on the wall a little bit of smudges that I can just grab really quick. And go over the light cover real quick because it's got a little bit of smudgies on it too. So really kind of, oh, that's really dusty, gross. Double using things when you can, as an extra use out of the item, especially if it's something disposable. But that's one less thing I gotta deep clean hard later. So I'll do that too. Alright. So I do have some dog hair fluff right there. This actually does have dog hair on it a little bit. But it is what it is. I clean it often. None of this stuff is going to be contaminated if it gets a dog hair on it. And then before I put it away, I will check for dog hair. And then eventually when I get to do the deep cleaning, I will wash this. If that's not good enough, I keep 2 mats. So, because that's now bothering me now that I said it out loud, I'm going to shift the top one off the bottom one that won't have dog hair on it. And I can move this over and go put this in the laundry. Problem solved. So yeah, I ended up with 2 of those over time, and that's how I've been doing it, is just layering them, and when the top one gets dirty, I pull it off and use the bottom one, and then when that gets washed, I put it underneath, and we do it all over again. Okay. Let's do, the microwave's really bothering me, so let's do the microwave real quick. It's pretty gross. I'll give you a close-up. Pardon my hand, but so close-up of the microwave. It's gotten pretty gross. Sometimes I can get my husband to clean it, but I haven't wanted to ask him. He hasn't been feeling good. Alright, so. Whoops, I'm on the button. Did I just get my camera dirty? Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Now we're right as rain. So I'm going to take out the plate. No, actually, I'm going to grab one of my glass bowls in my cupboard. And I'm going to do a little bit of vinegar water. I keep a gallon, I think it's a gallon. Whoop. Just Dollar General vinegar, because I use it for multiple things. It can be like 2 to 1. Honestly, if you can stand the smell of vinegar, which I don't, it doesn't bug me. And I'm just going to do a minute and a half. Get everything nice and softened up. While I'm at it, we have a tabletop ice maker. As it melts, sometimes it melts big chunks of ice, which I then put in the dog water dish, because he is spoiled and likes really cold water. And it's getting unplugged because I keep having to check it because we keep getting earwigs in the ice maker. I don't know how they're getting in there. So I'm going to empty the rest of the tray in the dog water bowl because he's not going to die from an earwig. Dang, see, it's just one thing after another. It's a whole day process to clean this thing sometimes. So, I'm not going to show you the earwig. I thought about it, but I'm not done. But I did unplug it. And we're going to bring it over the sink and dump it. So that I can clean it. I don't know how they're getting in there. How are they getting into the water reservoir? So what I did last time I looked, I've been looking when I put the water in because now I know that they get in there. But what I did last time was scrub it out and run vinegar water through it. So, actually I need to re-unplug it. I can also use my rubbing alcohol water. I think I'm going to go that route this time, just because I ran through 2 ice cycles of the vinegar water to try to get all the vinegar out, and it took all day. It was very annoying. I cut a half a sponge, and this is just for, it stays in this baggie with this toothbrush that are both just for the ice maker. So, now I'm not going to claim that all of my cleaning methods are like professional level and I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing it the way I do it, and that's just how it is. So the microwave is done. Just going to give this a good scrub. Give it a good wipe. And I'm still going to have to run at least 1 cycle of ice through it, just because I want to make sure that any water that's in the line that was in with the earwig is gone. I hate earwigs. They've been so bad this year because it's been so wet here in Minnesota that they have been, for the first time I've ever lived in this house, and I think we've been here 5 years, we've had earwigs all over the place. So, I'm glad it's not an every year problem, but I'm still not enjoying it. Alright. So, I'm gonna let that dry so I can go back in its baggie when it's dry. I'm gonna fill my water pitcher. And as I pour, I'm gonna try to rinse the areas that I scrub, because with those scrubbies, you get little microfibers from the scrubby. And so I want to make sure those are all rinsed off the edges and not getting into ice later. I'm having a hard time pouring along this edge, so I'm gonna scoop it by hand to make sure it gets all rinsed off. And there's a little bit of fuzz back there, I see. Okay, so I'm gonna finish filling it with water. We're gonna dump that. And now I'm gonna fill the reservoir and run the full reservoir of ice to be wasted. But that clears up the counter over there, so now I can actually wipe that down that I didn't wipe down earlier. So we'll give that a spray so it can soak while I am doing other things. Beautiful. How are we doing in here? That's pretty good. We'll do another 30 seconds while I'm doing other things. Right up to that fill line. See, now all my towels are wet now because I've been doing so much stuff in the kitchen. Okay, so on, and the top of that also needs a wipe down. So I'm going to spray the rag, wipe it down. I can see little spots bugging me. I made a mess with the water, so I'm cleaning that up. Okay, so that's gonna do its thing while I'm doing my thing. Let's give this basket a quick wash. It sits in water a lot, so it doesn't hurt to, wash it down. Every time I dry my hands, I just get them wet again. That's how that works in a kitchen. You know what? It looks like there's a film right here. I'm gonna grab the toothbrushes for the ice maker and scrub that really quick under the hot water. Got this little ridge on the bottom. This video's getting longer than I expected. It's gonna take an hour and a half, 2 hours to upload, but that's okay. Alright, that's better. So now I'm going to let that dry with the sponge so they can both go back in their baggie when they're done. Microwave. Alright. Woo, hot mama. I'm going to set that over there for just a second. I'm going to grab out the plate and we're going to scrub that really quick. So a quick rinse. With that I can use a little bit of soap. Suds it down, and we're gonna let that soak because I feel a lot of stuff on there that's crusted, obviously. So we're gonna let that soak. We're gonna grab another. I cut all of my sponges in half because I have little hands. So I have multiples. used on the microwave plate is really bad, as far as like the scrubby stuff is worn off. And the one in the sink is the one that I used on the stove, and I need to get some grease out of it. So this is the cleanest one left. I'm going to use this for the microwave. So again, I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for better than it is. Because it's gross, and I would rather have it be iffy and not perfect than gross. So we're just doing a quick scrub. Now this is pretty much the last thing I'm doing in the kitchen as far as cleaning. So that rag that I've been using is the one I'm going to use first to get all the top layer gook off of here, and then I can grab a clean one to do the final clean. But there's a lot of debris in there that I need to scoop out. And honestly, I can re-dip in that vinegar water, woo, or not. It's still really hot. But as it cools, I can re-dip in it to add a little bit of extra sanitization to my wipe down. So I'm just going to scoop all the debris into my hand, then it goes in the garbage. Well, it's not all of it, but it was most of it. Alright, so that's a good scrub with this. Take my scraper, loosen anything else that I don't need to spend extra elbow grease cleaning if a scraper does it with minimal effort. It's all about conserving the energy when you only have a tiny bit of it to work with. So the other inspiration for this video is another channel I watch, and it's a little bit on the metaphysical genre, sort of. She does tarot cards, but she's really just inspirational. And the reading that she did yesterday, for whatever card it was, I don't even remember, but she likes to give a little bit of tough love, and pretty much at the start of the reading, the card was telling her, you know, it's time to get moving, it's time to get things done, it's time to do the things that you've been saying you were going to do. Get it off your plate so it's not on your heart, and get it done. Just get up and get it done. And so that is the voice in my head right now, to just get in gear and get moving. I have a whole house that needs to be done that's been bugging me for years, as things just kind of got out of control between, I drove an hour to work and worked 10-hour shifts, and so my weeks were pretty busy, and I peopled all day long as a trainer, so I was just completely worn out by the time I got home. And my husband's had all kinds of health issues and some accidents, and he is just not feeling well, and so it's just kind of built up to the point where I'm so buried that it's going to take me, if I work consistently every week, it'll take me probably 4 to 6 months to get it back under control. And that's getting rid of things, decluttering, cleaning, and paring down. We're trying to pare down. We've just kind of collected over the years. You get a habit of bringing things in, but not taking things out that you don't use anymore, that you don't need anymore, or that you thought you wanted, but you didn't really want it and never use it the way you thought you would. There's 100 different things. So, I'm just using the sponge to get the majority of the gook, and then I'll go back over it with the towel with the rubbing alcohol to just do a final wipe down. Like I said, I'm not going for perfect. I'm just going for good enough. So that vinegar water is now, whew, it's still hot, but not as bad as it was. Not going for perfection, just a good wipe down so that it's better than it was. And then at some point, if I'm able to, before it gets dirty again, I will come back to and do a perfection clean where there's not a spot left. But I can't do that like I did back in the day. Back in my 20s and 30s, that was easy. Now that I'm in my 40s, it just isn't something I can do anymore. So, there was things to scrape that I didn't see. So now it's about kind of lowering my perfection standards. My brain wants it like hospital sterile clean, like it's brand new. Good God. And that's just not realistic for my capabilities anymore. Just life. So I'm having to kind of lower my standards to be basically not embarrassing if I had company over. Not that I ever have company, because my husband doesn't like people in the house. But, ew. You know, if somebody wanted to come use my microwave for a second, I wouldn't be embarrassed. Or mortified is more like it. So, yep, just a quick wipe down, make sure everything's kind of dried off. Good to go. Good enough. Make sure no dog hair is flitted in here because there's dog hair everywhere. And then I think we're going to end the video for now. Because I think my husband's home. Once I get going, it's kind of hard not to overdo it. Beautiful. There is a little bit of ick here, but I'll save that for the deep clean because it's not gross. Let me finish this microwave plate so I can get it drying, so I can go back in the microwave. We're just going to use the scraper for all that hard stuff that I was letting soak. All right. Give it a good sudsy, soapy scrubby. Usually will run my hand over it just to make sure I didn't miss any invisible chunks. Woo. Almost dropped it. Alright, now that is ready to dry. A little bit of a iffy problem over there. I'm just going to put the rest of this vinegar water in this pan that's soaking. And we're going to do a wipe down of the sink. And we're going to call it good. Oh, that got wet fast. Don't forget your handles and your spout when you're drying off your counter or your sink after use. And we can put this back in. like I got a little bit of crumbs on the stove, so I probably should have done the microwave first. But it's nothing I can't sweep off. Oh, one more thing. We gotta do the counter over here. I did spray that down. It doesn't need a deep clean, it just needs a quick wipe for any dust. And we are good to go. Thank you for joining me on my clean, and we will see you in the next one.